Hello, this is JP Hrisoulas, the Cranky Old Bastard, and today we're going to talk about anvils. But first, let's explain what an anvil is. In its most basic form, an anvil is nothing more than something hard enough to withstand impact, tough enough to withstand the shocks, smooth and heavy. That's all they are. It is a surface to hammer on. That's all an anvil is. It can be fancy or as simple. There are various types of anvils. You do not need a regular legitimate anvil as shown here. Anything that works. When I was stationed overseas, when I actually had some free time, which wasn't very often, I actually got up to the hill country and started talking to tribal blacksmiths up there, and I saw a lot of great work being done on nothing more than a couple of sledgehammer heads or maybe a broken section of hydraulic ram. But anything that meets the criteria of something hard, tough, and smooth can be used. Stepping over here, here is the first anvil, quote unquote, I ever used. It's a chunk of railroad track. I mean, it worked great. I had to use this thing. I still use it. I've had this thing 50 years. It's amazing. You know, you still use it. Next to it is a little anvil I made out of a smaller track, and I sort of like modeled it after a regular old anvil. Now, using this one here, this is what I would consider a London pattern anvil. This is my 200 pounder underneath it. There's various parts of an anvil. This is the heel right here. That's the hardy hole. That's the pritchel. Hardy holes are for holding hardies. Pritchels are there to help with punching out slugs. This is the face. This is the body. This is the web. This is the table. This is the horn. Okay. Those are the major parts of an anvil. Stepping over here to my big one, most of your forging will be done on the center part of the anvil, between here and here, over the most mass. This way you get a good rebound and your hammer kind of bounces back up from that. On top of these are a little thing called anvil tools. Now, let's discuss those in a minute. When you are working on this, you want, like I say, you want to work here on this area, right here on this area here, okay? You will see that these corners are sharp on this side, but over here, there's a radius, okay? This allows for tighter turns. This allows for 90-degree turns. They are used. They're very handy. This here is where a lot of people do chiseling. I don't like to do that. I like marring on my anvil. The horn is for curves, scrolls, etc., etc. Instead of using a chisel, I use a chisel plate. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of scars on there from me using chisels. It's nothing more than a big chunk of steel that you just basically throw on the top of the anvil. Here's a good shot of all the little chisel scars on it. Keeps your anvil face from getting buggered up. Okay? You want to keep this as smooth and hammer mark free as you can. Because if it's on there, your hammer is going to catch it, drive that steel down onto the surface, and you're going to end up with little buggery marks. Now, over here are things called anvil tools. This is called a bick. It sits in your hardy hole like this. It's a smaller anvil. You can do a lot tighter registers. You might need something. It just comes in handy because it's good for sharpening scythes and other good stuff. General blacksmithing work, but can also be used for general things in knife making. Over here is another bick. This one is for doing cones. I do this for tool handles, spear sockets, all sorts of things you need a conical shape for that's smaller than the horn. All in all, an anvil is nothing more, again, it's nothing more than something that's hard, tough, durable, and heavy. Now let's talk about anvil weights. Anvil weights, most of your anvils you're going to find are in the 100 to 200 pound range. My smaller anvil, this one here, is a 200 pound anvil. This is what most people end up using, is about a 200 pounder. Do a lot of good work on them. You don't need a big 450, 500, 600 pound anvil like I have over there. Okay, but although using a heavier anvil is nice. Here again, if you can get a heavy anvil, get it. They are expensive. You're looking at several hundred to $1,000 in some of these anvils, which I think is robbery. Now let's talk about anvil materials. There are a lot of really crappy anvils, I hate to use that word because that's what applies, crappy anvils coming out of China and other places that are basically nothing better than an anvil-shaped boat anchor. They are cast iron. You do not want cast iron anvil. This one here is cast steel. It was made by Von Brooks out of Great Britain. As I said before, it rings like a frickin' bell. It is a beautiful anvil to work on. Your old traditional anvils, like my 200 pounder, that's a wrought iron body with a welded on steel plate face. That had been anvils like that for 1,000 years. Okay? An anvil, when it's properly taken care of, my great-great-grandchildren can use this thing. And hopefully they do. So I'd like to keep that in the family. But other than that, an anvil is just a big, heavy piece of iron or steel that is tough enough to withstand the hammer blows and heavy enough to absorb the force. That's all they are. Now, this is a London pattern anvil. As I said before, this is what they call a classic blacksmithing anvil. There are other anvils I do not have access to. One of them is a plate maker's anvil. It looks like a big block of steel, but one part of it's got a little concave area on the face that allows you to hammer down plates and get them straight. Similar to a plate maker's anvil is a sawyer's anvil they used to make saw blades. Here again, it's a big block of steel. That's all they need. Now there's another little anvil called a stump anvil, which is basically a cube of steel, 4 inches square, with a spike on it. You drive down into a stump and you use that. That's a mobile anvil. They use a lot of those in the field for sharpening scythe blades, etc., etc. Here again, all an anvil is something hard to hammer on. Smooth, tough, and heavy. As I say again, if you can get a heavy anvil, get it. Because once you get it, tuned up to the right height, and it's a good anvil, it should last you forever if you take your time and you take care of it. Which means no errant hammer blows. Make sure you don't do anything stupid with it, like take a cutting torch to it, because believe me, I've seen beautiful anvils ruined by that. But other than that, that's it for the anvils. This is the Cranky Old Bastard saying I hope you liked the video. If so, hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Tell all your friends and neighbors that I'm still out there making videos. Have a wonderful evening. May the wise Lord keep you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.